The LAPD has been slapped with another seven-figure judgment for excessive force. This time a jury awarded $1.6 million to a stroke victim who suffered nerve damage after being forced into handcuffs. Carolyn Costello's live in downtown Los Angeles with the exclusive details. Carolyn, the jury heard from several police officers, and they weren't buying it.
They were not buying it. Sounds like they really believed the victim in this case, who we did speak with tonight. He was disabled by a stroke he suffered just before his encounter with the LAPD. He says officers ignored his injuries and his pleas for mercy when they handcuffed him inside his home. Brutality, he says, even though he was never even a suspect in any crime. Alan Ray Harris walks with a limp and has limited movement in his arm, the left side of his body paralyzed. So when LAPD officers confronted him in his home, he says he was unable to follow their orders.
They asked me to put my hands up, walk backwards to their voice, and I told them I had a stroke. I can't do that.
It was 3 years ago, just after Alan had suffered a stroke. He says 10 LAPD officers raided his Inglewood apartment, looking for evidence in a robbery they believed Alan's son was connected to.
One guy had a gun on me, so they put handcuffs on me, sheared me up against the wall, pulled me outside, and slammed me up against the wall.
Alan's lawyers say Officer Alex Tellez ignored the LAPD's policy for handcuffing and dealing with disabled people. They say Tellez rebroke Alan's newly healed collarbone and caused permanent nerve damage to his left wrist when he forced the crippled man's hands behind his back.
The handcuffing policy with respect to the LAPD is discretionary. They even have the discretion as to whether or not to handcuff arrestees that are related to felonies. This was an innocent man in his own home in his boxer shorts.
During the trial, this videotape was introduced as evidence by the LAPD. Proof, they argued, Mr. Allen is able to walk and use his left hand. The video was secretly taken by Officer Tellez's partner on his iPhone when he pulled Allen over just weeks before the start of this trial.
The LAPD engaged in a media cover-up of this incident from day one. They denied it ever happened. When Mr. Harris gave them the opportunity to do something by making a complaint, they ignored the complaint. And it wasn't until we were able to go into the court of law and shed the light of truth in that courtroom that we were able to obtain justice for Mr. Harris.
Allen's lawyers believe the video worked in their favor. In the end, a jury sided with Allen, awarding him more than $1.6 million in damages. But we are told the officer found guilty in this civil case has been promoted and put in charge of training other officers. LAPD's Chief Charlie Beck put out a statement tonight responding to this verdict. He said that the city attorney does plan on appealing this case. He also wanted to point out what he called facts in this case. He says Alan Harris never told officers he was upset or injured after this incident. He denied medical treatment. Chief Beck also said that an iPhone, 2 handguns, and a ski mask were confiscated and 2 people were arrested. We are told by Alan Harris's attorney that those 2 young men arrested, Alan's sons, were never charged, and that the items that were confiscated were ultimately returned. Reporting live tonight from downtown Los Angeles, Carolyn Costello, KTLA 5 News.